Here's a mid-side processing workflow that Grammy Award winner Luca Pretelese has used across his work with artists like Skrillex, Drake, Diplo, and Fred again, to name a few. Mid-side information refers to how sound is distributed across the stereo field in a mix. Mid or mono information refers to elements that are panned to the center and are in phase, meaning they are heard equally in both the left and right channels. Side information refers to elements that are panned to the left and right, and often are out of phase, which creates stereo width. Before you jump into processing your mid-side signal, take a look at your track's stereo image to determine where the gaps are that need filling and target them specifically. Generally, you'll want to aim for a stereo image that reflects an inversed triangle. Here's 3 ways to do that. Let's say these synths are lacking highs above 5 kHz. We could use a dynamic EQ to boost these frequencies on just the sides, making them sound like they're opening up when triggered by the input signal. Various bands can be used to fine-tune the boosted areas to fill in any gaps in the frequency spectrum. If it's not the synths we want below this area, but the drums, we can use a multiband stereo imager to target frequencies below these synths, say from 5 kHz down to 250 Hz, and push the width of just this band. Everything under 250 Hz would likely work better in mono, so we'll pull this band down. We could further enhance this by setting up the same band on a multiband saturator and adding harmonics to just that band, thickening up the stereo information. To get more specific with individual drum sounds, Luca will duplicate a snare, creating 3 copies. One is panned hard left, one hard right, and one remains in the center. The snare on the right is delayed by 15 milliseconds, creating a slight difference between the two, which adds stereo width. Luca then rolls off the top and bottom frequencies of the center snare and blends it back in with the 2 stereo versions. This mono snare helps fill in the lower mid-range that can get lost when creating a wide stereo image. It also ensures the sound won't lose impact on mono systems like those in clubs. To further enhance the difference between the left and the right snares, we might boost the mid-range on the right snare, helping to create an even wider stereo field. On the mix bus, Luca uses a couple of interesting techniques. The first is mid-side compression with FabFilter's Pro C2. Compressing the side information can often result in a flatter, less dynamic sound as it reduces the energy and depth. So instead, Luca focuses on compressing only the mid information while blending the untouched side signal back in. He does this by adjusting the dry-wet dials on Pro C2, which can be a bit confusing at first glance. He sets the outer wet dial to 0, which removes the side information from the compression, effectively making the process signal mono only. Next, he increases the inner wet dial by around 5 decibels, boosting the compressed mono signal. For the bottom knob, Luca turns the outer dial to full, which removes the unprocessed mono signal. Then, he slowly increases the inner dial from 0, gradually introducing the unprocessed side signal and blending it with the compressed mid signal. This technique can drastically alter the balance of your mix, so start with subtle adjustments and find what works best for your track. Next, Luca uses a mid-side EQ to remove any resonances he finds in the track, employing the frequency sweep method to find them. Cuts in the spectrum can sometimes result in a loss of energy. To combat this, Luca recommends adding a boost around the edges of the cut. This helps to retain the overall energy of the track, ensuring that the EQ adjustments don't make the mix feel too thin or weak. For another mixing trick from Luca Pretelese, check out this video to learn how to gain stage your mixes. Thank you for watching.